Welcome to Table Talk Friday, your weekly dose of D&D banter between three men in a bedroom. If you like their style, come back every Friday for another upload. Now, back to the boys.
So, played Magic with some old friends from college, right? And
Okay.
we were supposed to have 4 people for this group, but it turned out one person was running late. We were going to start a game with 3 people. And one of the people that's in the group is like, "Hey, do you mind if I just open it up and we accept a stranger into the group so we have 4?" Which, because, like one of my decks, the one I was going to play, wouldn't be very balanced with 3 people. It kind of wins every 3-player game I ever play. And so it's more balanced with 4. And so we're on spell table, and he just opens up the lobby. Guy joins immediately. I think his name was like, we'll go with Alpha, but I don't think it was that. It was something like that, or like Ant or something like that. I think we'll go with Alpha. So Alpha joins in, right? And immediately, one of our buddies who from college, he was like college Eric. He asked this guy. He goes, "Hey man, how you doing?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm doing good. How about you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing good." And then I chime in like I don't know College Eric, and I go, "Now, College Eric, how come you didn't ask me how I was doing when I joined the game?" And he goes, "Because I know how you're doing, Seth." Like, as a joke. So we start the game, we start going around the table, the stranger goes first, and other College Eric, OC Eric, Eric, the third person that we knew here, he plays a card called Mox Amber, which is a 0 cost. You throw it down and it gives you 1 red mana, right? And
okay, pretty solid.
Yeah, very, very solid. And it was because College Eric had made this for OC Eric, this card. It was like painted. He had painted it.
It's not a real card?
Well, it was like a proxied card, but he had painted it to make it look really cool.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and so he had printed out like on nice cardstock and made it. So
cool.
He plays this. We go around the table one time, and third party here, Stranger Eric, goes, that card is, like, we already gone around the table, so we started the next thing. He goes, "Are you actually playing that Mox Amber?" And OC Eric is like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, that's banned." And all 3 of us are like, "Huh?" We don't play, like, I don't think any of us played enough Magic to know the entire, like, ban list or anything of it. College Eric was like, "Well, I had made that for him. Like, is it okay if he plays it?" And the guy was like, "Well, and I'd prefer if he, like, picked it up, like, drew a different card." And
that's crazy to me.
So OC Eric is like pretty disappointed. He picks it up. He plays a different card. Goes to my turn. I didn't really care, honestly. I was like, guy joins in and this guy plays a banned card. Like, it's not a very powerful banned card, I'll be honest. Like,
it's not a big deal. Like,
it's only banned because I think it's in like the Power 9 or whatever, like those original 9 cards that were too powerful for the game. And so, yeah, it wasn't changing the game, especially because OC Eric had skipped his turn the next turn because he didn't have anything to play with it. So it was basically like he played an Arcane Signet, like a 2 mana drop or something like that. Yeah. It really didn't change the balance of the game at all. And so we get back to the thing, and College Eric goes, "Hey, I really don't care if OC Eric plays that card. Is that like a deal breaker for you?" And the guy, a Stranger Eric, goes,
"Yeah.
Well, I would just prefer you not play it because if I could, I would, chalk my deck full of banned cards, but I don't." And so at that point, I'm sitting there and I'm eating this up, dude. I haven't talked to these 2 college people in forever, so they're basically strangers to me. And then I'm listening to this stranger who has come in argue with them in the first 5 minutes of meeting them, and I'm sitting there like eating up my popcorn, like enjoying the show, because I'm sitting there just like mouth covered. What I was about to do was I could mute myself in Spell Table and just have it in Discord, and I was going to start talking in their ears to like do something or say something because we had to mute in Discord and only have Spell Table open since there was a stranger, and so I was going to start doing that, but then next thing I know, Stranger Eric disappears. He's not in the game anymore. Because
he's left?
No, College Eric kicked him. College Eric kicked him, and we had to restart the game. But that was because the fourth person showed up, and he didn't want to make him wait, and it was already awkward enough. So he just kicked him from the game and closed our thing so we could play with the fourth person we knew. But it was extremely funny. What are your thoughts there? I mean, I don't play a whole lot of Magic at a high power level. I don't own a single banned card.
But I imagine most people probably don't, right? If they're that strong, most people probably don't have these cards.
Yeah, well, because they're expensive, not because they don't want them.
Okay. So, I play Magic at a very basic hang around my boys kind of a level. I actually kind of love the idea. I'm not a Magic expert by any means, but I kind of love the idea of like, oh man, this deck would be so much better with a Black Lotus, and just like drawing a Black Lotus on like an existing card. I think that's actually kind of hysterical. And like if you're gonna do the work, especially to make like if it's not like a half-assed kind of thing, if you actually go through the work of like trying to make it look nice, I think that's so cool. Like, oh, your homemade Black Lotus, like by all means play it. That's super fun. Now, if you run to this guy and he's running 13 of them, and he's just pulling out the most legendary, busted, top 10, whatever it may be, cards that are all banned, and like that's his shtick. No, I don't want to play that. That's no fun.
Well, and that's why the bracket system exists. So the pod we were playing in was bracket 3. There's 5 brackets, and so it's like power levels. We were playing in 3, which is more like upgraded casual, but not like super high tier. 4 is upgraded, and then 5 is like competitive, like CEDH, like optimized, like super good.
Okay.
So
like experienced Joes.
So we're playing at 3, which is like, the game's going to be 8 turns to 10 turns maybe around the board.
Oh, okay.
So that was the expectation when coming into the table, and that was what was happening. So it wasn't like anything was about to be broken or anything like that. My opinion is if I'm playing with a group of people I know super well and we know our play styles, banned cards, we're probably not going to be playing them. Again, if I was this stranger and I jumped into a thing of 3 people who knew each other, I would say something too and be like, I wouldn't be like a hard ass about it. If they were like, hey, do you mind? I'd be like, I'll let it go. I don't really care. But I would probably say something, like, hey, just so you know, that card is banned, right? Just for future reference when you sit down at a party, I would come in it like that. So that way, because we obviously, the 3 of us didn't know. We had no idea.
Okay. Now this site you're playing on, what was the site called?
Spell Table. It's a Wizards of the Coast official like online Magic the Gathering thing.
But it's not like a ranked thing. Like you don't have a ranking here. Do you?
No, you're joining in on a Discord like video thing, and I have a camera pointed down at my table.
Okay, gotcha. So you load in and you pick your difficulty level. Other people are also ascertaining their own difficulty level of saying, "Look, I'm kind of like a more experienced guy." So
you usually would put it in like the title, like, "Hey, like casual bracket 3 lobby, no proxies," or something like that.
Okay.
Which proxies, right? Fake cards.
Mm-hmm.
They were both playing with fake cards. All my cards are real, but again, I don't really buy or make that many cards. So.
Not a big fake card guy, but I could see how
the guy who joined in, it was very cool, but his whole deck was proxies. They were all like his forests were green energies from Pokemon. And
I love that.
And his creatures he was playing were styled like Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So the problem with that is we're playing over video and I can't read his card. And Spell Table, you can click on a card and it'll put it up on the screen because it can like read what's on it and then show you. But if they're proxies, it won't show what the card is because it's not a real Magic card.
So it's hard to see.
You can't read anything. So I do this anyways because I stop paying attention a lot of times. Like while everybody's doing their turns, I'm off in space. But I had to just believe whatever he's playing. You know what I mean? Just kind of believe what he says.
How do you know what it is that he's playing without him saying it? Like it's a green energy.
Well, he has to say it.
I mean, so he could just play like, he could put down the Right Arm of Exodia and say this is, a planeswalker of some sort?
Well, no, all his cards were styled like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but they had the correct title and like descriptions. So he
made them. Like he actually went.
Either he made them or he went on like a website and printed them or something, and he printed them on like actual cards.
So they look real from the back. So you're not gonna be like you're not gonna know what you're drawing next, even if it's a Pokemon.
Well, there is
card.
no. Everybody has sleeves, so
Oh, because it was covered anyway.
yeah.
Ah,
So it doesn't
that's
matter
not
for the
fun.
thing, and like it's fun, especially like I don't have a problem with it. But it does make it a little difficult when you're playing over a camera online, as opposed if it was in person,
Yeah.
it'd be totally different because you can still pick it up and read it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds tough. Especially for already having to look through this camera and it's already I'm sure it's not optimal to be playing this
No.
way. It's just, a way to do it. And then to throw on top of like there's some sort of Pokemon art and you get it's like no, I would get way lost. I would not be able to follow anything. I'm not an audio guy. I need to visually see what I'm doing and then do it to learn.
Yeah.
You can explain it to me 1,000 times, I'm not gonna get it. It's just not gonna stick in my brain.
Yeah. Last thing before we get into the topic for the day, we were playing a 4-player game, but it was really 3v1, everyone against me, because by turn 4, I became so powerful that everyone had to turn on me.
Was it the D&D deck with the
No,
dungeon
no, no,
builder?
no, no. This was my first deck I made. It's a +1/+1 counters deck, and it's like my first deck, and I've been working on it over time a little bit, right? But I made it like by myself from scratch when I saw a card I liked. And so
Oh,
I put it together, and it's +1/+1 counters. The commander, you can pay 2 mana, tap her, and she'll double the counters on 2 different creatures. So, like, say if I have
wow.
10 on one creature, I can make it into 20.
Yeah, it's permanent.
Yeah, it's permanent. Their counters are there.
Ooh.
So
That's
yesterday, I was able to play a card that lets me play other cards for free, and I never draw this card. So I was like, ooh, okay, cool. So
okay.
I play a 4-cost card, equip it with a thing to give it haste, swing it OC Eric because he's open, and then play a card for free that costs 7 mana. And this is turn 4.
Oh my god.
And so now I have a 7-drop chilling there in front of everybody's open boards. And it was downhill from there. I was going crazy. They did manage to conquer me. They did manage to take me down, which it was fun. It was like a hero's journey, as everybody's like trying to find a way to get to me, and I'm just screwing them all over one after another.
I love it. I
But
love it.
yeah, but one of the other guys managed to pull out the game, and it was cool. It was fun. I never really care when I lose, especially when it tells a story like that,
Oh
where
yeah, if it's fun, it's fun.
the game ended up being like a long story. Okay, we're staying on Magic for too long, but that was my Magic story. The weird stranger who came in, it was very funny. So, while I was having a conversation with these old friends, College Eric, he brought up to me that he's been playing a game for the last like decade with some of his friends too. And they implemented in their game this town building, not even just Bastion, but Bastion system into their game using the city of Leyland as a background. And I wanted to bring up with you today, Drew, what you think of town building mechanics. If you're ever going to be, are you going to be interested in having a settlement that your adventurers are in charge of bringing back up, et cetera, et cetera? I want to know your thoughts on this and if it should be in our D&D campaign.
So I like the idea of it. I think it's very cool, and I'm interested to hear more about what College Eric had said about the specifics of what he was doing. But I do like the concept of having a home base, like upgradable kind of system. I think a lot of the games you play nowadays are all about upgrades, right? Whether it be a board game like Monopoly, you want to upgrade to the
Mm-hmm.
hotels and the houses, right? Or if you're playing like a phone game like Clash of Clans or like Farmville or something, right? It's always about getting the upgrade to get more stuff, so you get more upgrades to get more stuff. Super into it. I love it. I was a cookie clicker boy back in the day. I totally understand the vibe, right? I don't know how well it would mesh with D&D. I think there's a lot of potential for it to be really cool. I guess one of my go-to thoughts on this is I always think of Red Dead Redemption 2 as one of my favorite games of all time that I've ever
Yeah.
played. And you were always kind of working on your homestead. You always had to go back, and your gang mates they would shout out to you. They would say stuff when you got back, and they would talk about what you've done recently. It was always, I don't know, it felt very homey, felt very immersive, right? And I liked going out hunting and building all the items to get the house bigger and better. It was a really cool system. I love the idea of that in D&D. I just don't know how I would implement it appropriately. I feel like I would butcher the system. I don't know.
I really love the idea as you guys having a base camp, right? Because We haven't ever really had a like a base camp where you guys stay. It's been on and off. You've had places you go back to frequently. Like, hey, we're gonna go back to this person's place and stay for a while. Well, you did have a keep briefly in Storm King's Thunder, but you didn't really. I think we spent 2 sessions at that keep out of many sessions, so there wasn't a lot of time spent there, and we didn't do any like building. But I do like the idea of like, okay, you guys have come across this place, and you have the bandwidth to help. Right?
Mm.
And maybe there's just a lull for a bit of time or something like that where okay, we're gonna bring this place back to fruition. We're gonna make it so that it is inhabitable once again. And I like the thought of being able to do that. It does, strangely enough, it fits into where we are in our current campaign super well, but I don't want to do it where you're currently at. Like when I say like Bryn Shander, right? Bryn Shander's been messed up. It wouldn't make sense for your adventuring party that you're with right now to be like, oh, we're gonna be in charge of Bryn Shander. That wouldn't make any sense. But I would like to have a base camp somewhere in all of this because I intend for you guys to be going out and stuff all the time in your current campaign. So I think it would be cool to establish like a base of sorts.
I think you're onto something here, though. I know it doesn't make sense for our characters in this campaign to remain around Bryn Shander being in shambles, but we've already sort of done the structural missions that you would imagine in a game like this, right? Like we've gone out, we've found survivors, we've gone out, we're stopping the storm to help. We've literally stopped like a small feud in the area and have sent the groups back, like just this last session, to head back. To me, we've already completed like levels 1 through 3 of getting the homestead back over. Like by the time we go back, like they might have some food. The people we just sent back there, they brought them some goods. They're trading again, establish some sort of defensive structure, right? I kind of like the idea that every once in a while we come back to Bryn Shander and it gets built. I think that would actually be we might be in the prime to try this Bastion system.
Okay, now let's think through it a little bit together. Then we've got Bryn Shander's a big city. This is not a small settlement. So
it's small now.
Do we have, okay, your party's granted titles of some sort and an area of Bryn Shander that they preside over as like, this group of heroes that saved it? Or is it like, oh, you guys are sitting on this council or whatever now as consultants over all of Bryn Shander?
I think maybe remove yourself from like the leadership kind of setup. So I think a lot of times we think like back to Storm Kings, right? When we started getting a little more political towards like end of game, right? It doesn't always make perfect sense of why like the king or the queen would be like, oh, well, what do your adventurers say? Like, why would they ask that? For what reason, But this may be the perfect situation where, we're not the kings, we're not the queens, we're not like the counselors. Maybe they pull us in for something like that. But it's the idea that, these people literally have been helping us the ground up. Like we collapsed, like there's like 20 people left. We're growing again. They keep coming back and helping us. What do you think? That's like the perfect example to get people involved and that you actually have sway in the town without being like, I don't understand why this guy's asking me for help. He's got ancient dragons in his employ and they're asking me what I think.
Or, think about this. It's 10 towns, right? And a lot of the people, most of them are not inhabited anymore. What if you just get one of the 10 towns?
Okay, so we actually inhabit the entire town like ourselves. It's about building it up.
We're like, hey, here's one of the 10 towns. You guys are in charge of it. We interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcast to tell you about patreon.com/tabletalkfriday, where you can get post shows from the boys every single week. Sometimes they talk about their personal lives, sometimes they talk about gaming, and sometimes the conversation just continues where it left off. So go check out patreon.com/tabletalkfriday now.
See, so if you do that, I think it's really cool. But if you do it, I think it sways and pulls your campaign in a way that you weren't expecting, right? Which, if it's cool, by all means, I'm down. It sounds like a fun idea, and I'm down to do it. I just don't know what everyone else's backstories are, where they're set up. Do they want to leave?
You're going to be leaving this area no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
you
Of
might spend
course.
a few more sessions here, you know. But my thought, about this is you would be inhabiting a place, right? Eventually, people are going to start coming through your place. Eventually, you guys will speak to and hire some underlings or whatever to take care of like a lot of the basics for you, and then now you're free to adventure with your manager staying back behind and to continue on doing more adventuring and stuff. And then you can always come back and continue doing that in the interim. Maybe you take the time and make a teleportation circle so you can come back easier, stuff like that. So I do think there is a lot of freedom there for you guys to do. You don't have to immediately, start romping across the entire Sword Coast. And I do think the premise of having land or a base is something we haven't gotten to tackle a lot. And if we're going to do another, 1 to 20 campaign now, currently 4 to 20, we got 16 more levels. It could be fun to go ahead and do that early game. You hit level 5 and now you're in charge of an area.
So you've got me turned in a different direction now, because I do like the idea of what you're talking about being sort of like your home base is your guy in a chair, if you're familiar.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
you got your hacker behind the scenes, right? So let's say we got to get back to teleportation circle. Perfect. We got to send a message. Perfect. We have a guy send a courier, right? I almost like it more in a political Dragonlance, like warfare, like Warhammer kind of a vibe, right? Where your town gets built up, and okay, well, we've advanced into this. We're the adventurers, we're the adventure party. We could do this on our own, but if we go do this, that town's going to suffer over there, or they need reinforcements, and then spending your like having a resource system to do it. Maybe the Bastion system includes that in the 2024 rules. I don't know, but I like the idea of. I guess it's very. Fortunately, you didn't play Theros, but Theros was very like kind of war based. I like the idea that we go to one town and we say, okay, let's expend 10 of our troops from our town to go over there and help them. And if you expend 10, it's like a D12 roll to see if you pass, right? Or if you spend less, it's lower, blah blah blah. But you don't find out the results till later when you get there, or you return back to base. It's like, oh yeah, we took over this town, we drove the goblins out, we saved this many people. Here's some of your loot. Right?
Yeah.
I kind of like this dominating town warfare political landscape. I think that could be really fun. I don't know if that's something you have in mind for this or not, but I think it could be
let me throw one more wrench in your idea. And my thought is, it doesn't even have to be, we can give you land. We can do it that way. We can do a whole town. We can do political figures. Another thought is, what if you guys are in charge of like a guild? You know what I mean? Like, hey, you guys saved the whole freaking city. Okay, when people come through and they need to be directed on where to go and be given rewards, you can take that on. And then when something comes across your table for the city, like, oh, this is huge, you just go take it on.
Okay, so we're like, what was it? We're like VIP of the guild. We're the hotshot crew.
Right,
no one else
right.
Can, like, they send us in to
like in the anime when the main character first shows up and like the really cool guys come walking through the door, that's you.
Ooh, so it's an XP farm is what I'm hearing. We go back, get some XP.
Well, it could also just be the what is it, the catalyst into whatever happens after the 1 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I
think it could be good. It depends on, I think, the relationship like that you have with the place and what kind of business you're sending you on. Maybe it extends right into the further arcs, or maybe it's almost like a shopping episode where you're in between. There's some time that passes. You need to, warrant a level up, right? Okay, well, you go back, you grind, you help the city. A couple months passes and 6 more buildings are constructed. And you're able to slay 2 hydras, whatever it may be. Blah blah blah. There's a lot of potential here. I think I'd have to like really sit down and like jot down a system, like a point system, a resource system, something to make it a little more interesting. But maybe we try it at sort of a superficial base level first, just to see if people are into it, into upgrading and developing.
Yeah, I'll have to do some more research too to see what like kind of mechanics and stuff go into it. I know the Bastion as a concept, they have like specific turns of what they can do, like researching, maintaining, etc., so on and so forth. And when you're away from it, I think it just maintains. So I know there's specific mechanics they can go into, which is cool. I'm happy to like read through that and be like, oh, this actually works for what I'm trying to do. But I also want to leave a lot of room for you guys to customize, do some cool role play. Literally, kind of like we did whenever you guys had a keep for the first time. I want you to like, interview the employees that you have that come in,
Oh, that's so
and
fun.
things like that. So I would like to do stuff like that. And I think once we finish the next, I think we've got what, four, maybe five sessions left of the first five levels of our big campaign. So if we only have that much left, we might have five sessions where you're just kind of figuring out what the next thing is, not necessarily going straight to it.
Okay. No, I'm into that. I love the idea if we start to dabble. I'm definitely on board. I'm more than willing to persuade the rest of the crew to get involved here. And I would like to throw one more thing your way.
Okay.
As a DM. Because as a DM myself, I think this is probably the thing that excites me the most. It's always fun, tearing your players down a little bit. Just really ripping them a new one here and there. And I love the idea that instead of having to rely on a quality backstory or craft like a very particular character per se that's tightly woven, maybe some sort of deception, something like that. I love the idea that the players actually do the heavy lifting for you and create this thing that they care so deeply for, right? They're always spending the resources, always thinking about it. They're always wondering, like, oh, how do we customize? Blah, blah, blah. All little things that they could put into it. And then as the DM, you could just be like, oh, yeah, some ogres are going to attack now. We have to go back. We have to. The heartstrings that you have in your grasp, your Loki in the freaking Loki series, he's pulling all the strings together right there. You have everything in your hands, man.
And I think I would leave it as a thing that like you guys do. Okay, what do you want your keep to look like? What do you want? Like, who would you like to work there? Let's make them up.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I think I would make it very collaborative. I wouldn't necessarily just have it be just me doing it all.
No, of course.
So I make it super collaborative and try to work it in that way. But yeah, I do think that the Bastion system, having a base, things like that are things that should be used a little bit more. I remember whenever I was doing my first campaign with Lanky Eric, we were part of just the Adventurers Guild is what it was called. We were part of an adventuring guild and they were in charge of giving us missions. And that was always cool to go back to this inn that we knew we would walk in and they would have work for us. So it'd be like, okay, we're going to go in and, oh, we heard this thing is going on in this forest. Go take care of it. Okay, yeah, sure, we'll go do that. And without it being like a huge overarching narrative for a while, it was kind of fun to just live in the D&D world and take on a couple of missions,
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and the whole time you're developing your relationships with the people in the town and the guild itself. You're getting attached.
Exactly. I had fun. One of the higher level fighters in the guild, she was like super confident, and I, as the monk, I was like, level 3 or 4, and I was like, I'll take you on. And so we went into this little training arena, and she beat the shit out of me. I think she was like a level 7 fighter or something like that.
Oh damn! Okay.
Yeah, she beat me up. It was actually close because I think I stunned her once.
Ooh, there you go. Get some extra swings in.
So, yeah, but we developed that relationship where we did that. I respected her more, and then I even told Linky Eric as the DM, I was like, hey, my character has like a high level of respect for this person, but like he also might have a bit of a crush on her.
Ooh. Hey, Schmidt remembers this moment popping up.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah, and I do like the idea of having that very chill level of D&D for a while again, too, of like, hey, we're just gonna do some adventuring and get experience as a group together before taking on the world. Like your last campaign, you guys were thrown into hell immediately.
Yeah.
Like very
not
early
a lot
on.
of business going on.
No, and in Storm King's Thunder, you guys did a romp across the Sword Coast, but there was always the background objective in mind of the giants are wreaking havoc. We have to take care of it. It's never not been something huge story related, I feel like.
Which easily could be. I don't know if you remember in Storm Kings a long time ago. It was a very small part of it, but obviously a big part of my character at the time was he was a shopkeep essentially, Greylock Co. And at one point, I think we had rebuilt the location in Nightstone, I want to say it was, of the Forgotten Realms. And every once in a while when we went back, you would give me a little bit of gold for going back. I got some like the profits from the store. It was very small, but it was a really cool way for the DM to incorporate a character's backstory, make him feel like a shopkeep. Like no one else went anywhere and was just handed gold. Like that was like, oh no, that's my shop over there that I talk about and advertise for all the time. Like I'd always tell people about it and hand out, like, I don't know if I had business cards or not, I don't remember. But it was cool for me, and that was the way that I immersed myself in the game. And just you give me, it wasn't game breaking money. It was probably like 50 gold here or 20 gold there, that kind of thing. But it was really cool. And I think that's a really solid foundation of how to build something in the Bastion system, some sort of money looting process, blah blah. It was really niche. It was really cool, and I appreciate that you did that. I think back to it every once in a while.
It's fun. It's fun.
Oh, it was super cool. It was super cool.
So, last thing, I enjoy that too. I'm looking forward to doing more of it. I wanted to bring up on the air a decision I made in the last session that quite literally could have resulted in the instant death of a character.
Oh god. I can't believe you did that, dude. I can't believe you did that.
So the combat we were in, for all audience sake, is I had looked up a stat block. I looked up the words Winter Wraith, and I looked it up, and the image, the token that you guys saw in the game was exactly what showed up. And I was like, let me just crop that out, like snip that out real quick, put it on a token, throw it in the game. It exists. It baked into everything we were doing really well, and I nerfed some things here and there on it, and kept other things the same. But one of the things I didn't nerf, specifically because almost everybody has cold resistance at this point, was they do a Cone of Cold. They do it. It's a recharge ability. It's not exactly the same as Cone of Cold, but it's very similar. But it's 8d8 of damage. But I was like, don't worry, my level 3 players all have immunity or resistance to cold, so it's more like 4d8, and I would like it to still be impactful, so I'm gonna leave it. And I did exactly that. I was like, I am almost positive it'll be fine. And we get into it, and I do my first round where I just hit everybody, show that they lower your AC by freezing over your armor. Very cool.
Very cool.
That they stab and leave icicles inside of your body and make you take 1 piercing damage every turn. Very cool.
Very cool.
And they do Cone of Cold. And so I do that on the next turn. I have both of them use their recharge abilities in separate locations against separate groups of people. That wasn't 2 Cones of Cold, please. I'm not a sadist. So
we all would have died if you did. Every one of us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So 2 different groups of people, very many kilometers away from each other, 2 different Cones of Cold. And to my surprise, nobody goes down, which is great, because people who made it and have resistance were taking quarter damage, and everybody else was resistant except one person, which was our wizard, Sean's character, Bep. He had 20 health, and I did 47 points of cold damage. He made the save, though, so he didn't die instantly, and I actually think he did the math wrong. He heard me say something about 13 at one point, and he only subtracted 13 and did not go down. But it ended the next turn anyway, so it wasn't a big deal, I don't think.
I think he may have done the math right. In the heat of the moment, I think all of us were freaking out, because don't forget, not only are we fighting these crazy creatures, probably the strongest thing we fought so far, right? But we're also time bubble fighting. So like half the party's over here, half the party's over there. So there's a lot going on right now. So it very possibly got the math wrong. What I do know for absolute certain, because I did the math several times in my brain, is if he had failed that save, which he passed, if he had failed, he would have outright died.
Oh yeah, he just would have died.
He would have just straight up died right there.
And do you think I planned that? Absolutely not.
I think you're trying to kill him.
Absolutely not. I was telling my wife about this after the session. I was like, yep. And then I tried to kill Sean. And she was like, huh? And she was like, oh, just like last time. And I was like, no, Patrick died because he couldn't roll anything above like an 8.
Yeah.
He rolled, he failed like 4 rolls in a row. That's why his character died. It was not my fault. Those monsters were easy to kill.
Poor Quiglius, man.
I know, poor character. So she was like, "Oh yeah, just like last time," and I was like, "No," but I was like, this time it was negligence because I didn't go through who all had cold resistance at the time, and I just assumed Bep did. He did not, and he passed the save, luckily. And
I'm trying to think. I can't remember who does this because one of us has like the cloak, which makes us resistant,
yeah. And then
one of us is immune from the dragon.
Yeah,
gave us like a
immunity was granted to Chase's character.
Right.
So doesn't really matter the specifics right now, but Sean was the only person without a resistance there, and I almost eviscerated him, but he made the save. I would have been so distraught if I had killed Bep. I would have found a way to bring him back because it would not have been deserved.
No, if he had died right there, it would have been so unnecessary. I don't know what we would do. Like, how would you bring him back at that point? Maybe like he's frozen.
I got ideas.
Like, it just would have been so early for him to die, you know?
Which, I mean, to be fair, in the painstakingly like death-like scenario you're in, it would be apt for someone to die. So honestly, I would have just let him die and let you guys try to figure out what to do next, whether you're like, we're going to try to bring him back or we're just going to move on and he's making another one. I'd probably ask him. I'd be like, what do you want to do?
But if one of us has to die, man, does it have to be our cute little wizard frog with a hat on? Oh man, that's screwed up. Kill the old man. Kill the fighter. He's tough. But the little poor frog with a hat? He's got a hat, dude.
Thank you for listening to Table Talk Friday. Remember, you can get tons of post-show content at patreon.com/Table Talk Friday. It's awesome over there. We've got tons of post shows, and there's video where you can see my very long hair. If you go back through like the rest of the year, last year of the video podcast, and you look at my hair, you'll just see it growing over time, and many different tank tops. many different tank tops. So go on over to patreon.com/Table Talk Friday and check it out. But until then, I need the very cute frog with a hat to take me out.
Well, hi you guys. Little Bep here. I just got this little hat on. It's like a little wizard hat. You ever seen a wizards like that with tiny earrings on my head? I got a little tongue and I eat a fly. I'm just so cute. Well, I hope you guys like the podcast. Enjoy hats and little frogs and enjoy your time.